Hi Fabulous, it's Ali P here again, deciding that I thought I would just jump on and do another impromptu podcast. So mainly because the podcast I recorded yesterday, I mentioned Amanda Francis in there. And a couple of years ago, when I got the urge and the inspired action to start a podcast, and then the universe presented me with a gentleman that had a podcasting course and a mentor. And I invested in this podcasting course, and he is hugely successful with his podcast. And he actually helped name my podcast, The Fab Over 40 Show. Originally, he said, make it quick and snappy. So it became, because it was, aka the Law of Attraction Lover, the podcast was called the Law of Attraction Lover, and he said it's too long. And I made it, Fab Over 40. We helped create it part of, the live training mentorship. And he said, call it the Fab Over 40. But then a bit later, he also said that podcasts are bigger than just a podcast. That intimidates the name, really, for the benefit of what it can do. He said, this day and age where people record, like I'm doing at the moment, I'm recording, I will upload this to Anchor, but I'm using an MP3 recorder and using a platform so that I can record it and put it on YouTube. He said it's more, and a lot of people, you may notice now, I tend to listen to podcasts more on YouTube because you can see the physical people being interviewed. So obviously they are physically interviewing people or recording themselves, and then they put the audio up onto a platform. I use Anchor. I started using Anchor because it is free. And I'll explain in a minute why that's important. But yeah, I invested in this, I feel like I'm being Ali. I'm going off on a tangent, but I feel like I have to sort of justify myself in a way because of that course when I say that I'm doing an impromptu podcast, which is ironic because the person, also the mentor, has a book called Start Now and Get Perfect Later, and I totally agree with that. But it's not his fault. But when I did the course, I got overwhelmed with all the technicalities of it, and it was counterproductive, and I froze, and I didn't start now and get perfect later until I decided to start now and get perfect later and just be myself. And if people don't like me, then they turn off, they don't listen. But if something I says resonates, then we're part of each other's tribe. We're on the same vibe. So, but there's somebody there, Amanda Francis, who I hugely admire and love, and highly recommend people go and get her book, Rich as Fuck. So the last couple of episodes are potty mouth episodes, which is not unlike me. It's very unlike me, but I'm just going with inspiration. And I feel that inspired action says that I need to do podcasts with potty mouth, and I'm doing podcasts with potty mouth. So yeah, I recorded one yesterday, and I've just really got back into Amanda's podcast at the moment when I'm driving around, and she records a podcast when she's in her car. I listened to one the other day, the most up to date. I've actually gone back to the beginning and start right over, but she did one where her daughter came and interrupted her while she was recording. So she was obviously recording it in her house. There was no fancy kind of microphone or anything like that, and I love that. And the reason being, so a little bit of my backstory is that basically, funny enough, I was having a really shit time. I was having a shit life, and I kept thinking, why am I having a shit life? Because I'm not a shit person. I'm a nice person, seem to be. People seem to like me and say positive things about me. Why does this shit keep happening? And it got really shit. It got so shit that I was estranged from family members, mainly because I stood my ground and decided to be myself. And that didn't fit in with our protocols. So that caused a little bit of disruption. I had troublesome teenage problems. If I'm totally honest, interfering parents. Dictating and telling a grown woman how she needs to bring up her children, and I wasn't taking that shit anymore. So yeah, shit is the optimal word today. Unhappy at work. I was being bullied at work, and then a friend died, a very young friend, And it was, whoa, I don't think I can take any more of this shit. Obviously, understandably, I was very down and overwhelmed. And the day after my friend died, very short notice, I was literally sort of screaming out to the universe, as I say it now, or screaming at the wall, saying, I can't take any more of this, you've got to make it stop, or I just can't take any more. You can read what you want into that. And this voice in my head said, go and get the article that you tucked away. And I instantaneously knew what that meant. So I used to buy the papers. I do not really involve myself in any kind of media at the moment, and I don't read newspapers. I think they're all fear-mongering. But we used to get a paper then on a Sunday, and I noticed a double-page spread that said a soap actress had changed her knife with post-it notes, and I was intrigued. But me and my partner were about to go out, so he said, are you ready? And I went, yeah, and then put the paper down, and I thought I'll read that later. And the very next day, on a Monday where we live, is recycling day. So we put all the papers and anything, magazines out. And I suddenly remembered this article. So I put the rest of the paper away into the recycling bin, but I saved this article and stuffed it away somewhere. And I believe in divine timing now. And so that was several months earlier. So I can see the process now. So they say that time is an invention by humans to make life more easier and compatible with what we do. But there is no time. It's all linear. So I think the higher purpose, or whatever, the universe, God, source energy, knew, because everything was happening at the time, that I would need this article on this specific day, not when I thought I was going to read it. So I was inspired to keep it, and forget about it until I got this voice that said, go and get your article. So I had been really doing the ugly cry. So I get up, snot nose and everything, walking around thinking, where did I put it? And it was like something physically turned my head and focused my eyes on this pile of magazines. And again, I intuitively knew that the article was in one of these magazines. And I flipped through and there it was. And I read about this soap actress who, and this is in 2010, she claimed her success and manifesting things that she wanted. And I really wasn't into the word manifesting then. I had spent years reading personal development books, so that was even more frustrating when things were shit, because I thought my life was going to change. How could my life not change when I'm reading all these personal development books? But they weren't really spiritual, so I didn't really know about manifesting. It all makes sense when I look back retrospectively. As Steve Jobs says, we can only join the dots looking back, not going forward. Anyone relate to that? So, yeah, I read this article and she said that she'd read a book, The Secret. You may have heard of that book, you may have not. Actually, I'm aware now that The Secret came out, I think the book came out in 2006, so it was fairly new, but completely passed me by. And apparently it had been a global phenomenon, and most of the people contributors to the book. And a film, it was a film first before it was a book. The inspired idea of Rhonda Byrne, they'd even been on Oprah. And I read this book, I read this article and went immediately, this is 2010, back then I think it was just books, because back then you had to go to a bookstore. There was a little bookstore in my hometown, and if it didn't have I wanted a book, or I heard of a book, if I wanted it and it wasn't in there, I could order it, and I'd probably have to wait about 2 weeks. Then this miraculous website had popped up that I'd come across called Amazon, and I could order books and have them in a couple of days, and that's pretty much all they did back then. And I ordered 2 copies, one for me and one for my daughter. And somehow I immediately felt better, even though I hadn't read the book. My whole energy had changed and improved, and I was excited. And I was excited about the books coming. I think it said it was going to come on. They were going to come on a Thursday, and they actually came on a Wednesday. And I pretty much devoured, probably nearly 100% of them within that time. And it was like a light bulb had gone on, and I could see where I was going wrong. Because what I was doing was reading book after book after book, sitting on the sofa waiting for some kind of miracle to happen, but I wasn't actually taking any action to change my life. So I realised this is where I was going wrong, but what action could I take? And I decided that, again, this voice said, get up 10 minutes earlier and start writing things down that you're grateful for. And that's what I did. I started creating a gratitude journal, just putting a few things like, I'm grateful for the roof over my head, I'm grateful for hot and cold running water, I'm grateful for electricity when it's dark, so I've got light, simple things like that. And I would get up and write these things, and that was all I did. I did not know how much my life was going to change. I didn't know I was going to become the Law of Attraction lover. I didn't know I was going to have podcasts and things that I've qualified in and what I've done since. That's all I did was start writing gratitude in the morning. But it made me feel better. And then I remember I was being bullied in work. I had problems with relationships with friends and family. And suddenly I noticed things seemed to be getting easier, and difficult situations where people just seem to suddenly say, get a new job somewhere else. And I started to think, I think this has got something to do with my gratitude. And I also started, practicing more to do with the Sxxt. I loved the Law of Attraction, but I was very shy. And I wanted, when I started to see things manifest and work out positive for me, and I'd started waking up happy, and I inadvertently, as from having the gratitude journal, then I started doing some kind of meditation, or I'd go on YouTube and watch motivational material. So I'd created affirmations that I'm so happy and grateful now I have, or etc, etc. I created a morning routine. And actually, saying about my wake up happy, it was accidental, but because I really want as many people, my mission is for as many people as possible to wake up happy, I actually used a platform called One Pager and created that morning routine, and I give it away for free at mywakeuphappy.com. So if you want a free morning routine, because it's not something that you're used to doing, or you've got one, but maybe you think, oh, let's see what hers is like and see if it compares, or is there anything I'm missing out on, feel free to go to My Wake Up Happy and grab your free morning routine, including a gratitude practice. I'm obsessed with gratitude and how it makes your vibration really high. So I've gone off a tangent, told you a little bit of backstory about me, and that's all I thought I was doing, was just trying to make people aware that you can create or co-create your life, and you can wake up happy regardless how shit it's been. But what started happening as I went down this route is I had a passion, I had a way of life that I wanted, and I seen scenarios that could create that. And in the Sxxt, in the book and in the film, there's a gentleman who sadly passed away, and I dedicated my book to him. Was it last year or was it the year before? It might be a year before now. I forget that we're in 2024 now. I have actually created and written a book using the Law of Attraction and beyond with Ho'oponopono about how to beat the bullies, because even the workplace bully went away, and I've been bullied all my life. All I can remember was being bullied from a child, and that evaporated as well because of the Law of Attraction. So I created a book around that, and I could see the benefit in Bob Proctor was in the Sxxt, the film and the book, and I really resonated to him, and I thought he was amazing. And he said something that while I was absorbing him and listening to his Born Rich series on YouTube, something else I highly recommend. And he said that successful people have multiple streams of income. To be honest, I didn't know anybody that had multiple streams of income, apart from someone, that might have had a full-time job and didn't have enough money, and then had a second job working in a bar or something, or a shop, but I really didn't appreciate it. I don't know what it was. Even though I couldn't really embrace the concept, it stuck with me and it never left me. And it made sense. That's why really successful people and rich people have so much money, because they have multiple streams of income. But I also wanted to create income that could come in without, it's to build something once, sell it multiple times or indefinitely. Like online courses and things. Again, I didn't know how to do that, but I had that intention, and the universe presented opportunities in front of me. And gradually and more, I was learning things fully for myself to help myself to get to my goal and my vision and my purpose and my passion. Had no intention. I was going to create courses, but I was going to create courses to help people with their mindset and the law of attraction. And but then people started to come to me and gravitate towards me, asking for help to how to use online tools and social media, and that, oh, you've got your own business, and that's another story for another day, but you're so lucky doing what you love and loving what you do. Used to be my tagline. Because of Bob Proctor, I actually created a gold card saying I'm successfully self-employed, doing what I love and loving what I do, because that's how he started on his mission, by creating a gold card. And I created this gold card, and I manifested a business, and I manifested a couple of forms of income. So I had multiple streams of income. Da-da! And that's how amazing law of attraction and manifesting is. But then so I was focused on creating online courses that could create me passive recurring income, but helping people at the same time wake up happy doing what they loved. Didn't click that I was learning all this stuff for myself, and people started to come to me and ask, oh, you're so lucky doing what you love, loving what you do, and they would immediately discount themselves and say that they had no talent, because it was an artistic craft based business that I used to have, a time-bound one, trading time for money. And not exactly what I wanted to manifest, but I believe everything happens for a reason, and that got me I seen the benefit of using social media and online marketing. So I got passionate about that, and I was investing in mentors and courses for that. And because I wanted people to wake up happy and they would discount themselves or say that they were too old or they didn't have any talent, I started giving them all this information about, they were quite often younger than me, because I'm nearly 58 at the time that I'm reading this, recording this. And the amount of stuff that I've learned in the last 3 or 4 years, probably less than 4 years. So it was like, that is not an excuse. That is not a reason. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And it gets easier and easier and easier. And I also found, I used to say to people, do you like cooking or do you like gardening? And they become animated, and quite often those two subjects for some reason. And I go, yeah, well, I hate cooking and I hate gardening. But that goes to prove that we've all got talents. We've all got things that we love. And then I started giving all this advice away for free about how they could start posting on the internet just the things that they're passionate about, and how they could monetize it and help other people. And I was just giving it all away for free. But I was getting frustrated, because I was like, I'm trying to build this course on the law of attraction, and these people keep coming. And then it was like, oh, I've just spent 2 hours coaching this person for free. And then the light bulb went on, and I was like, oh, you Wally. This is where you are passionate about the law of attraction and helping people to wake up happy and use mindset tools to make them to manifest and achieve their life. But you got to roll it all up into one. And I just have a knack, when I see people unhappy or frustrated, I start chatting to them about the things that they're passionate about. And usually, because they've been so busy, they forget what they were passionate about, because they're doing everything for everybody else. And I have I have a knack for tapping in to what makes people tick. And I'll start pulling things out of them, and I'll start them getting passionate, and they start getting animated and passionate about things that they love. Then I started giving them all the tips of how they could utilize that and turn it into an income, etc. And I, probably a couple of years ago now, maybe not. So I was listening to a podcast, and the gentleman was really charismatic. And I really enjoyed the podcast, and his name was Serhant, and he was promoting his book called Big Money Energy. So I got it as an audio book, but I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but I'm a bit terrible with books, because I'm reading one, but there's someone recommends another book and I go off and get it instantly, because you don't even need, ordering things off of, going to my little private, my town, brick and mortar bookstore ordering books that took 2 weeks to come, and then going on Amazon and getting them in days, and now just downloading audiobooks and ebooks. I usually get all three. I usually get the physical, the ebook and the audiobook. I can have something in seconds. I start reading a book and then I get not bored. I never get bored of books, but I tend to go off onto other ones and I forget. So back along Sunday morning, laying in bed, bacon sandwich. You can tell by my accent, I'm from England. From the West Country in England. Bacon sandwich and a cup of coffee in bed with my partner, and he was on his phone and I was clicking through the channels, and I seen this program, $1 Million Listings New York, and I thought it resonated with me for some reason. So I started watching it, one episode, got into it, watched the second episode. Partner started picking up on it, and I went, I think that's that guy from the podcast. I got his book, listened to his podcast, and went into my iPad, and there was the book, and we really resonated to his personality. And he had a previous book which I was aware of, Sell It Like Serhant, and he had a TV program called Sell It Like Serhant, and he goes and helps these people that are struggling in sales. And there was one particular man there, he was lovely, but his friend had helped him get a job in a kitchen unit sales place, selling kitchens, bespoke kitchens. And he had no knowledge of this industry, and he had no knowledge of, he was in sales apparently. You find out in the program that he was in catering. But something really sad happened to him, and his friend helped him to get this job in the kitchen business, but he couldn't sell anything. So Ryan takes him off to go and learn all about how the different types of wood the cabinetry was made out of, different bits about the business, so that when people asked him questions, because anybody asked him a question he didn't know, he'd go and get his colleague, he didn't know nothing. So he helped him go and learn about his product that he was selling. So years ago, I was talked about YouTube videos and that. This is a bit naughty then, but this is when we didn't have Bluetooth earplugs, and I talked about Bob Proctor. I used to get a personal development video started on my phone. I'd put one earbud from a string into my ear and start driving and commuting to work, because that's how I got my mind set up for jobs that I didn't like. And I would say listen to things like Bob Proctor and that. So I'd start the video and then put my phone in my car door so that I could listen, obviously not watching YouTube, as I commuted. And I listened to a gentleman, I believe his name was Dan Pink, and he said quite often people admire people with confidence and they wish that they had confidence, but we only have confidence in the things that we're knowledgeable about. So he said we want confidence, but we have to do something first and then the confidence comes later. And that always stuck with me, a bit like Bob and his multiple streams of income. And I got back into Ryan the other day and I've been listening to his books, and he said, you've got to know your shit. Whatever you're selling, you've got to know your shit. Because he's in real estate and he calls it comps. He knows what the comps are, what the competition are for an apartment that's similar. Because if he's trying to sell an apartment and people might know that another apartment in that building sold for $10 million or something, and they're trying to sell one for 10, they're like, that's competition. He says, you've got to know it inside out, the history of the building. You've got to know your shit. And I get that's a bit like, because I remembered the program with the guy with the kitchen cabinets. He didn't know anything, but Ryan took him away, helped him learn his stuff, and then he came back and he was more confident. But I believe I am going to do a module. I have a thing, if you're not aware, called the Law of Attraction Lovers Club, and it's a membership site, and there's a free trial for 7 days, and then it's $7 a month, and that's like nothing. I'm going to put so much content in that in 2024. There's going to be tears, because I've actually got so excited before Christmas, where it was all about law of attraction. I've actually created an area of how you can turn your passion into your business. But there's other stuff. I have the book I mentioned about bullying and law of attraction, Ho'oponopono. Last year I certified as an advanced law of Ho'oponopono practitioner. I'm already certified as a master life coach and an advanced law of attraction practitioner. Like I said, started that gratitude journal. I never knew all these things that were going to happen and where it was going to take me and following inspired action. So I've also had an inspired action to take each chapter of the book and turn that into part of the membership site. So I've gone off on tangent and forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, he said, know your shit. Do your study and but I was reading a book the other day, or rereading a book and listening to it, and it made me realize I'm going to put this, and it's about things that you're passionate about, and it's going to create it into a module. That's what I'm going to say. I was inspired by what I heard and reminded me, and I think the universe put me in that position to listen to that material again. I'm going to turn that into a module about how I already have a tool about how you find your passion and how you can monetize it. But I'm going to add this, turn what I learned from this book into a module in the Law of Attraction Lovers Club. Maybe you're not someone that likes to read show notes on the podcast. You just want to go for the podcast. So I will say it out now, but I will put the link in the show notes as well. So if you're interested in the Law of Attraction Lovers Club, it is LOA for Law of Attraction, LOALOVER.club. Like I said, there's a free trial for it. It's $7 a month. Can't even get a coffee for that in one coffee, let alone one coffee a day for a month in 24-hour access, and it's going to stay that same if you get price you get into it now, because I'm saying I'm going to probably tier it this year into different levels of access and different levels of pricing. But if you get in now, it's a grandfather price, so whatever you get in at is what you're going to pay. You're just going to pay $7 a month regardless of what the content is in there. So I'm going to create all these new sections. I'm going to create a deeper section. I've already started building it out for Ho'oponopono. I've already started putting some modules in about how you can turn your passion into a business. I'm going to create a section about bullying as well, if that's something people have experienced. But going back to know your shit, this module is, I believe we've all got something. So let's say part of this module I'm going to create, think about something that you could read books on for 5 years and not get bored. Think about things that you could talk about for 5 hours and not get bored. That you already know your shit. You already know. You have something that you become, like I am now, you become animated about, and you know your shit, and you can talk about it for hours, and you can read all kind of books and research and improve your skill set and your knowledge, and you can help teach other people about it. And you have got confidence in that area. You may not feel that you have confidence to sell that and monetize it, but I know that you know your shit. So if you know your shit, go do your shit. Go and start putting things on the internet, just things that are authentically you, that you excite you, and start putting it out there. And you never know, starting from a gratitude journal of 10 minutes a day to what you end up doing with that. I believe this for a long time, we live in the best time in history, the easiest time in history to start a business online, and something that we can create once, build one, and sell it forever multiple times and create a passive income. And that is why I mentioned that I have to be honest, I don't know if it's available anywhere else. It may be. But when I started researching, I had the idea to create a podcast. I didn't have a lot of money, so I needed free resources. And I found that Anchor, there are other platforms out there, but they're paid. But I found out that Anchor was a platform that you could create a podcast on for free. It's now been bought out by Spotify, which makes me think that it's global. But that's what I'm passionate about. People came to me, discounted themselves, told me that they were too old to start their own business. They were too old for this. They didn't have enough knowledge. They didn't have any skills. They didn't, have any talent. And I dispute that. I think everybody has got a gift, and you're doing the world a disservice if you don't share it. But I appreciate that in the beginning, that your resources and your disposable income, if you have it, or what you have, or lack of, is what you have, is to be shared elsewhere, you feel, and not, that on something that you want to do. So not only am I passionate about mindset, the law of attraction, Ho'oponopono, and not only am I passionate about everybody can start a business online, wake up happy doing what they love, I believe that I'm all about showing and teaching people how you can set up a website or you can set up a blog for free, how you can start a podcast for free. I'm also passionate, I believe that the social media is a fantastic thing, but we don't own it. We're at liberty of Mark Zuckerberg or whoever who sees our posts, so we can utilize it. But I'm also passionate about what I call evergreen content, like using Pinterest, like using podcasts, like using blogs, things that you can create like I'm doing now. I'm riffing. I'm passionate about telling you that go out there and know your shit and read more books on the things that make you tick. And I know that you already know some shit. You know more shit than some people know, but they're also interested in that subject and they love the same thing as you, and you can teach and help them. Whatever level you are at, there's someone that's one chapter behind you that wants your knowledge and expertise and are willing to pay for it. So you can go out and do your shit now. There's nothing to stop you. Plus, there's loads of free ways. YouTube, podcast, blogging. You don't even have to show your face. And that is the reason I have this cover photo on there, because I know a lot of people don't want to go live. They don't want to. I started my blog, The Law of Attraction Lover, because I didn't even want to use my own name. And I didn't want no people to know it was me because I was too shy. Now I don't give a shit. Shit is the optimal world today, isn't it? But I also want to show people you don't have to show your face. You don't have to make a little video like this. You can just talk on a podcast and nobody needs to know you. You can have a pseudonym and they don't have to know your name. Or you can make money online with YouTube, things like whatever your vibe resonates to, you can do it for free. And I'm all about showing how people can start their businesses online. I want people to be able to build up an income, to be able to do what they love and what they're passionate about, and they can do it wherever they want to do it. And they don't have to have a boss, and they can be location free if they want. Not to have a brick and mortar business, that's another story for another day. That I used to have that, but once I had it, I realised it's not what I wanted. I didn't want to be time bound or location bound. I wanted to be location free, and that's why I resonated to want to create things that I can build when I feel right to me, and I don't have to create content when I don't. And that's why I like evergreen content, because it's stuff that you can create, and then somebody could come across it in a year's time, 2 years time, 3 years time, and they see your links or your products or whatever, and they buy, and you could be asleep. You could be on the other side of the world from where you normally live. And that's what I'm passionate about. And that's why I mentioned Amanda Francis as well, because I just love the way she is. She, like I said, I invested in this podcast course, and it's just one of those things. I've invested it, and I may go back to it and watch the modules again. I did it live, but you get the modules afterwards. But it stopped me. Amanda Francis is someone that I mentioned in the beginning. She's an inspiration to me because she's real and she's authentic, and I'm real and authentic. And I've just come home when I was driving, and this thing about know your shit has been sitting with me a couple of days. And I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to go home and I'm just going to open the laptop, and I'm going into Canva, which is another free resource. I'm going into my presentations thing, I'm going to change the title, put hashtag 20, and I do have a platform that I use. It's very inexpensive. It's just ridiculously cheap for the year that I record it. I can edit it stuff. I can just crop out the little bit at the beginning and the beginning at the end, and save it to my laptop as an MP4, and I can upload it to Anchor, and then I can also take that video and upload it to YouTube, practically all free of charge. And that is what I'm building out in the Law of Attraction Lovers Club. Like I said, if you want to check it out for the free trial, I've already started to put the intro about how you can use start your online presence, and I did put a few modules in there before Christmas, and I'm going to be putting some more stuff in there this week. So it's LOALOVER, and I just came on because I want to tell you that you already know your shit, so you can go and do your shit and you can sell it online, and people are already, you're being sorry, excuse me, getting tongue-tied, getting passionate and animated. You are doing the world a disservice if you do not go out there and do your shit, because people want it. because they're not as far ahead as you are, and you're more knowledgeable than you realise. And also, I know you know your shit, but just go out there and know more shit. And just research, and if there is stuff that you love talking about, go out there and watch videos about it on YouTube, buy books on it, get more knowledgeable. And the more knowledgeable you can get, the better you are giving people what they want. So I'm going to leave it there. Have a fabulous day. If you found this podcast and you love it and you think there's somebody you like my energy, because some people aren't going to get my energy, but now I don't care. I went out there and I started. And I don't believe you get perfect later, because I don't think we'll ever get perfect. I'm going off on a tangent now, but I'm always reading people's posts, really successful people, and I see spelling errors in there, but they don't care. It doesn't matter. It's about coming from your heart and what you're giving people. And some people are going to get my vibe and they're going to be my crowd. And the ones that are not, that's fine. That's good. They can go somewhere else because they don't resonate with me, so they're not going to buy my products and services. And it's the same with you. Just go out there and be your authentic self. But if you feel that you like what you heard today, feel free to go and listen to my other episodes. Check out Law of Attraction Lovers Club. Check out my website, AlisonKParsons.com. I've got a link on there, a link tree that's got all my stuff on there. It's got my gratitude course on there. My blog. I've been blogging for over a decade now, so you can go and read some of that. And if you think some other people are going to resonate to this as well or benefit from them, please share, follow the podcast so that you can hear it, get notifications when I put another one out there. And if you feel that other people are going to benefit from it, please recommend it. And then jump on social media as well, Alison K. Parsons or the Law of Attraction Lover on all the usual platforms, and drop me a message if you've enjoyed this. So I will leave it there. Have a fabulous day, week, year, month. 2024 is going to be our year. 2024 is the year we're going to manifest motherfucking more. And if you think that's really abusive, then check out yesterday's podcast episode so it all makes sense to you. Yeah, 2024 is the year we're all going to manifest more. So, hope you've enjoyed this episode and look out for the next one, or just go back and have a little binge on what I've already created. And why not check out the lawofattractionlover.com for my blog posts.